Welcome to the Credible Nerds Podcast. We provide news, commentary, and reviews for all types of nerds, from the hardcore to the casual.
What's up, my nerd?
I'm definitely the casual. I think I fall in the category casual. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Credible Nerds Podcast. My name is Justin, and I'm here with my fellow Mandalorians, Blake and Nathan. How are you guys doing?
All right.
Doing good.
Cool. We're here talking about the last two episodes of Season 3, 23 and 24. We were doing a double episode because these two stories tie in together. They basically one long episode, right? So we decided to do that all together. So we're here talking. We'll start off with the spies. Did you guys, after watching this episode, did you have any thoughts on who the spies were? I mean, because that was kind of a question for a lot of fans. Is like, because we started off seeing Elia Kane from Moff Gideon's cruiser or crew back in the day, and she's now posing as a rebel agent or a New Republic agent, but she's still working with Moff Gideon. So obviously she's a spy.
Is it the spies?
Spy
Plural?
Yeah.
Plural. So there's a lot of confusion, a lot of talk online. You know, who's the other spy? Are there more spies? Is it blah blah blah? Did it matter to you, or I don't know? What do you guys think?
Yeah, it did matter to me. I didn't think about it.
I think Grogu's the other spy. Season 4.
I know that there was talk about the armor being the other spy.
That was a big theory.
That was a big theory. I saw that, but I have to admit, about 10 minutes in, I forgot about the title
Yeah,
and didn't care.
yeah, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I did look into it a little bit, and the only thing that really made sense was, since this season tends to have a lot of biblical throwbacks, callbacks with the Jews, or maybe even just Israel in general, right? In the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt and coming into the Promised Land, they camped outside the Promised Land, and they sent spies into the land to check it out, make sure it was livable, right? And so they're comparing this scout group that ended up going down to Mandalorian, kind of check it out. They were the spies going into the Promised Land to see if it's livable, find their place, right? The forge. So
That makes sense.
that makes more sense than like the armorer or Axe Wolves as a spy or whoever. So
Yeah.
I kind of like that version myself.
Yeah, I think that is applicable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. And then with the next episode being titled The Return, right? They're returning to their Promised Land and recovering their birthplace, or their birthright place.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say.
Because the only really true espionage, spy kind of activity is Moff Gideon's, right-hand person
Right.
that we see. And that's, on, that's walking around and got the professor busted. And,
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. But anyway, so she meets up with Moff Gideon. She tells him the pirates have failed on Navarro. And the two factions of the Mandalorians are joining together. And so you kind of get the sense that, the pirates were sent by Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon, yeah.
So that's something I didn't realize.
Yeah.
But they're going to head back to the Mandalore.
She seemed to have a lot of information, though, about what the Mandalorians' plan was going to be. I don't even think they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She's an effective spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got on the planet and they're like, hey, maybe we should go take back Mandalore.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Yeah.
So, and she actually said that before they arrived on planet.
Yeah.
At least the sequence of the show. So, I don't know. But, she said they got reports from the New Republic, so that's how she got that information. But when what's his name, Carson Teva, went to talk with Tim Meadows' character, they're like, Navarro, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
So they knew nothing about Navarro, but yes, she's clued into all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't see it. I liked what you explained it, how you explained it. I think that makes most sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Gideon tells her, well, I'll take care of the Mandalorians. Don't worry about it. So
yeah. Well, and they had, that post-credit scene where, the X-Wing pilot, he's like, finds the shuttle that Moff Gideon escaped from, and he sends the R2 unit in, and he's like, there's a piece of Beskar. I thought they were going to kind of expand on that in the next episode and talk about, the Mandalorians, they kidnapped him because they want, for some reason, we wouldn't have known why, but they didn't even touch on that subject other than, I guess it was a little Easter egg for the final episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of ties in that way. So, but here, the next sequence was so much information was revealed in this next sequence with the Shadow Council.
Yeah.
Right? Basically, tons of questions that we've had since season 1 are revealed here, and they talk about it. So let's get into that. I think that's probably spent a lot of the time on this part because it's such important information and backstory and future plans and all that stuff. But so he gets off the hologram with Elia Kane, heads into another room. He goes through these laser gates that we kind of saw in Phantom Menace, right? Mm-hmm. A little tie in there. And he has to pass through each one. They turn off, turn back on. But he goes into a separate room, and there's all these people meeting via hologram. And we know some of their names. There's Captain Paleon, and he's been part of the literature, the Star Wars books. He's been mentioned there. I haven't read those books, but he's there. And then also there's Hux's dad, who is, what's his name? I have it written down here. Brendel. Brendel Hux is Admiral Hux's dad from the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, that's actually his Domhnall Gleeson's brother playing that.
In real life. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and then there's a bunch of other people. But they're all talking about, and it starts off, they're talking about this one guy who looks, I call him Uncle Fester because he kind of looks like that. But he's plundering the hyperspace lanes, but they got to be careful before they gain too much notice from the New Republic and they start to investigate. Another guy, Captain Paleon, he's the guy with the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages everyone to appear as unconnected, warlords so that the New Republic won't hunt them down.
Don't give them the imprint, so they don't get the impression that they're organized and doing things, coordinating their efforts.
Yeah, and that ties into a question we've talked about: how what is the status of the Empire at this point? Right? Is it just Gideon? Are there other groups? And here we find out, yes, there are other groups. Through the Shadow Council, they're working together in secret, but they're not openly working together.
Yeah,
they each have their own agendas and missions that they're doing. And after that guy Paleon says that, another member, this woman, points out there's Imperial sympathizers on every planet, and if we call them up, they'll come join us and fight with us because they're tired of the New Republic. So,
which I have a tough time believing that, but obviously they kind of, with the Jack Black episode, maybe they kind of touched on that subject a little bit. But I just have a tough time people believing at any point in time that the New Republic is worse than being under the Imperial rule. But it just kind of goes to show, and I think we talked about this in another episode where we were like, there certainly seems to be citizens of the the universe, depending on which system they're on, who seem to have been able to live their lives pretty much fairly normal without much impact under either rule.
Yeah.
And so for us as an audience, they kind of focus on the worst things that are happening. Obviously, there are plenty of people who are just going about their day like it's any other day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's in charge. They're still going to go to work and hang out with their friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it is interesting that there's, whether they believe this and it's true or not, they believe it's true, that there are tons of people who just, if they show some strength, they're just going to rise up and join them, and they're going to take back the galaxy. So that's an interesting concept that they have there. But Captain Paleon talks about, well, we can't waste that show of strength. We got to wait for the right moment so that Grand Admiral Thrawn can return and reestablish their military might.
Mm-hmm.
So we get another mention of Thrawn. We first heard him last season with Ahsoka, in that Ahsoka episode. But here it's like, there's a plan. These people are working together. They want to reestablish their imperial might, and their Grand Admiral Thrawn is the man to do that. But Moff Gideon's like, well, where is he?
Yeah.
Where is this Thrawn guy? He's not here. I haven't heard anything. I hear secrets left and right throughout the galaxy. I heard nothing about him.
Yeah.
So
we're the one doing all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Moff Gideon certainly seems to be the Shadow Council when it adjourned. You get the impression, or at least I did, that Moff Gideon, I would have thought that he was the leader of this council, but I kind of got the impression from this that he wasn't, and that he was kind of lower on the totem pole, so to speak, and was like, "Hey, can I get some help?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "We've already given you a ton of help."
Yeah. But then at one point he said, "Well, maybe there needs to be a new leader," and he kind of, or maybe you need to be replaced or whatever. He seems like he's throwing a little bit of weight around.
Yeah, true.
But then, what did you guys think about? I mean, they talked about clones, during that, and he said, "You're the only one that's interested in clones.
Right.
We have no." And then, of course, Moff Gideon. That's kind of been his storyline. So,
but didn't he kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about? Didn't he play it off?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did, right? But they obviously knew that that's probably not the true or not the case, because they're the ones who brought it up.
Yeah. So Commandant Brendel Hux brought up the name Project Necromancer.
That's not telling.
Yeah. That's a tell or a reference to Emperor Palpatine, Snoke, all that part of the cloning stuff. And like you said, they bring it up, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." Dr. Pershing, he's gone. All the secrets died with him, or gone with him for now, is what I think he said. What was the phrase he used here? For now, at least. Research has been lost, for now, at least. So it kind of gives you this hint that it's still out there. But then Hux fires back and says, "I've heard some secrets too, that you had Pershing on Navarro and were working with him." He's like, didn't really say much after that. They kind of moved on. So.
But that shows that they had. He kind of gave them the impression that he wasn't, and he was like, "All I know about Dr. Pershing is he was captured, and I don't. That's all I know about him." And then he's like, "Actually, you're not being upfront. Not only do you know him, but you actually had a working relationship with him."
Yeah.
So there's definitely some cloning going on that you're not
telling us.
You're not telling us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
So then they move into getting resources that they're waiting for. They say the statement, they're amassing resources waiting for the grand plan to take shape. So there is this plan. I want to know more about it. This is the first time they've mentioned that. So that's interesting. I wonder if we'll see it more. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. My suspicion is they're just kind of like filling in the gap between what happened from Return to The Force Awakens, right? And the rise of the New Order. And this is the New Order in its infancy. And these coming Ahsoka, further seasons from The Mandalorian and other TV shows are going to fill all that in, and then ultimately probably I'll come to the movie that was announced in Star Wars Celebration, right?
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. So, and I think this Shadow Council, because they mentioned, well, Grand Admiral Thrawn's coming back, or he's out there and he wants to come back, and there's his grand plan. And we know in Ahsoka, which comes out later this year, that Thrawn is in that show. We've seen him in that trailer. So I would imagine that that's the plan. That's when he comes back. That's when he makes his move.
And Thrawn, he was primarily in Rebels, or
yeah. We didn't see him until Rebels.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he was in some of the books earlier, like earlier in the timeline. There's some
So are we going to
him.
get like are we going to get like a live action? We already saw a Rebels character cameo. Are we going to get more of those characters, you think?
Yeah, we're getting all of them.
We're getting all of them?
Yeah, they were in the trailer, so.
Which trailer? The
Ahsoka trailer.
Oh, okay.
From Star Celebration.
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll get all of them. Zeb.
But they're not going to have their own series. They're just going to be in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know. As far as we've been shown, so.
But at this point, they're not together like they are in Rebels, right?
Right.
They're kind of all each doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Gideon asked for resources. He wants TIE fighters, TIE bombers, Praetorian guards, and when Gideon brings up that the Mandalorians are trying to retake Mandalore, and that's why he needs the resources. They all kind of look at each other like, "Oh, that's not good."
Yeah,
that's a threat to our plan. That's interesting because there's not that many Mandalorians at this point that we've seen on screen. At least maybe 100 at most.
Yeah. And
they're worried about him? Like, what do you guys think about that? Like, what's the worry?
Yeah, I wonder, how, I just wondered, is the number of Mandalorians low just because it's a TV show and it's like a cost thing,
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like, I don't know. I wondered that as well, like they're going to retake Mandalore, like 20 of them and rebuild society. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like you'd expect a lot more. And actually, kind of in these last couple of episodes, I expected to see just a bunch of them come.
Like thousands of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I thought we'd have this montage of Bo-Katan going to different tribe after tribe after tribe and like talking to them. And then they would we'd see,
see them show up.
Hundreds of them show up.
Like usually happens. Right at the end.
Not a couple hundred.
Yeah.
But I think there's way more though. I think it's just kind of a,
Yeah, there has to be.
I don't know, keeping the show tight with a small number or whatever. But
yeah,
that could be it. Maybe once word gets out that they've retaken Mandalore, they're establishing their city again, everybody comes around from all over the galaxy and joins in. They're like, sweet, we're back.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that'd be cool. Because there does need to be more if they're going to be a threat. They did talk about how they're strong fighters and they are almost unstoppable when they work together.
Yeah.
There's no infighting. But they definitely need the numbers.
Yeah, I think they definitely view them as a threat. The New Republic's too busy dealing with trying to run everything, and the Mandalorians are kind of like, they don't need orders. They don't need someone they don't need a general to be like, hey, go over here. They're like, they see a need. They're like the A team, right? They see a need, they just go.
Yeah. They get out there, get in their van, and head over. Go take care of business.
Yeah.
So they're going to send them the resources, and then from there, that's the Shadow Council. So a lot of information was revealed. A lot of questions we've had throughout is kind of teased or revealed here. So I really liked this scene. I liked rewatching it because you watch it and you're just like, oh, all this information is like an info dump. And then you go rewatch it and you learn more. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, so they cut to Navarro. The Mandalorians are showing up with Bo-Katan and Din, the ones they went and recruited. And
her group, basically.
Yeah.
Ex-Wolves
and Koska Reeves. And they show up, and there's some tension between the groups, right?
Yeah.
These guys can take off their helmets. These guys can't. They're a little jealous, maybe. I don't know.
I would be.
Yeah.
They don't have to go off in the woods and eat by themselves. You can just
Have
right
you
there.
ever gotten into a fight to the death over the rules of chess?
Almost. Yeah.
Clearly, you have though.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
You're playing chess, they're playing checkers. You get it.
King me.
Yeah, that part was funny. So it does spill over throughout at least the rest of this episode.
The tension.
Yeah, the tension's there. But Bo-Katan gives a speech, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna retake Mandalore. We need to join together." So they need a scout group, I guess. So she calls for volunteers. The main characters: Din, Bo, Koska Reeves, Axe Wolves, Paz Vizsla, their armor. They all we'll go. So no surprise there.
But they all go, but some
Yeah.
are like, okay, let's go. I need a small group to go down on the planet and scout things out, which I really didn't see why that was
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already been there.
Yeah, they scouted it a few times.
You've been down. You went through all the catacombs. You went to the lake where, everyone gets baptized. What do you think you're gonna
Yeah.
not see that you didn't already see before? But and they land out in the middle of nowhere, and they just start walking.
Yeah. Let's go this way.
And they're just kind of like you're not it's not like they landed in the city where people could be hiding. They landed out in the middle, the barren waste where there would be
Nobody.
nobody.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, we better scout this area out." And you're like, "Well, you flew in.
Yeah.
Can't you just look from the sky and see for about 100-mile radius? There's really nothing there." But they land and just start walking. I'm like, I don't get this part.
Yeah.
Well, you always hear people say, we need to get to lower ground
But
Yeah.
to check
where
this
are
out.
you walking to? I mean, you're not going to build camp. Why aren't you just going to go to the city that's been demolished and kind of start rebuilding it?
Well, they were looking for the forge, right? So, but the armor and Bo-Katan have been there, so they should know where it's at, roughly.
She in their previous episode, she's like, I know exactly where you need to go. So I don't understand why all of a sudden she's like, hey, where's the forge at?
Yeah.
I mean, she took, she took the Mandalorian Din right straight to the waters. So and the entire
she
time
knew
she's
exactly
like,
where they were.
the entire time she keeps talking about, oh, I know this place like the back of my hand. I don't.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that part.
Yeah, that was a little weird. But before they leave Navarro, let's touch on this when they... Grief Karga shows up when they all come back and gives him a bottle of wine, alcohol, right?
Yeah, Romulan ale.
Yeah. And someone posted online, I saw this, and I thought this was interesting, that they're like, oh, that's a pretty unique bottle, right? It has this distinct shape and design. And it's a drink that Michael Jordan made, or it's from his company or something.
Oh, really?
But there's only 5 bottles in existence.
Okay.
Really?
And that was one of them, apparently. Or at least it was modeled after that.
I bet that tastes just like his cologne.
Yeah.
Remember that cologne?
Yeah, I had a bottle.
You did?
Yeah, it smelled good.
It's just a bigger bottle of the cologne, man.
Just drinkable.
Big bottle of Michael Jordan cologne.
Yeah.
Did you sprinkle it in your shoes so you
No.
could be like Mike?
No.
Give you a little more air.
The ladies loved it. I'll say that. You smell like Michael Jordan.
What was the cologne that everyone in high school was?
In high school, it was Drakkar.
Drakkar. Oh,
Noir.
I was going to say
Polo.
Polo.
Polo was big.
And it was like, I'd see guys at school with Polo, and they'd open up the bottle and pour half of it into another bottle and then fill it in with water, trying to spread the wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Polo. Everyone in my high school was like, oh, it's all about the Polo.
So, yeah, Michael Jordan's drink showed up. But,
What's it called? Do you have it?
I don't.
All right.
So anyway, he shows up with the drink, welcomes it back. He's like, I got another present for you. but you got to come back to my place. So they go back, come back to my room. Let's get drunk.
Yeah.
But no, and it's IG-11 is now fixed up. The alien to bring him in, and he's riding it. He's driving it, and apparently you can push buttons and say no or yes. And
apparently, no, not apparently.
Not apparently. Factually.
Yeah.
Grogu sees this. He's excited, and he jumps in it and is able to operate it. Din's not too happy about it, but Greef talks him into it, and then Grogu won't get out of it. So he's like, well, I guess I have a choice. What do you guys think about IG? So they call it IG-12 now, which it's kind of lame. But what do you guys think of IG-12?
Dude, I loved it. I can't wait for the toy.
Oh yeah.
It even had little holes in the side so his ears could go out and not get bent or whatever.
Yeah.
It was fine. Yeah. I probably thought, I didn't really think too much about it because I knew if I did, I would be like, that's dumb.
Well, I did like he has a new mode of transportation besides walking or that little carriage.
You keep saying you want him to be a teenager.
He's
got to get out of the carriage.
Now. Yeah, he's driving he's driving a robot. I just kept thinking, like, there's no way this thing could not just topple over, right? Really easily. And I don't know, like his mech warrior kind of a thing. I mean, it's cool. They should have like guns mounted on the shoulders, and it had a head. What's the point of, right? Didn't it have the head attached to it? Yeah. Like, what's the point of having the head on there? He just needs the arms and the legs. But I guess the bigger question is, what'd you think of the yes, no, yes,
Loved
yes,
it.
no?
It was good.
Yeah,
because you want to hear what he's thinking, and that's
a
way to do that.
Yeah,
I would like to hear him actually speak, though. But
yeah.
Guess we'll get there next season,
maybe a third, but maybe
yeah.
Maybe.
Let me think about it.
So he's able to be more mobile, and they go to Mandalorian with Din in that IG-12 contraption. So they land on the surface like we talked about. They're walking, trying to find the forge, and then the ship shows up. It looks like a boat type of thing, and in it are more Mandalorians who've never left. They've been trapped there. They can't leave because if they try to go off world, the Empire shoots them down, and so they've learned to live there. And so that's cool. Maybe there's more of those guys there. So maybe there's more.
There's gotta be, right?
Yeah,
there
more
can't
than
just
like
be them. Their land ship.
Yeah. So they join together. And they're like, well, we know where the forge is, so we're going to show you. They have some sick that their armor leaves and takes back to the main cruiser to get feeling better. And then they head to the forge. And when they get there, or on their way, there's this beast that attacks the ship. This is where we see the part where Paz and Axe Wolves fight over the chess game.
Yeah.
So there's still that tension there, and they're still trying to figure out how to work together.
But this is when, Bo-Katan, they're all sitting down at the dinner, and they're like, we failed you, I'm sorry. And she reveals this whole backstory that we, did not previously hear about. Mm-hmm. And what really happened that was the catalyst or the genesis to the Night of 1,000 Tears, and essentially Moff Gideon leading the annihilation of the planet, right?
Yeah.
I think that was pretty good sequence, an important part of the show, to have her hear that and have her basically say it's all my fault, which must have been obviously something that we weren't aware of. So you can understand her motivation beyond just wanting to be the leader, but she wants to right a wrong, right? She feels guilty that everything that she sees, her homeworld, it's gone, and she takes the blame for it. So it's more than just you reuniting the Mandalorians. It's basically trying to get forgiveness or trying to right a wrong that she feels responsible for.
Well, and even when she surrendered, it kind of showed, because her character seemed more like interested in being the leader than leading people. And so, that kind of showed how much she cared about, I guess, the people, and that she had surrendered, done whatever she thought she could to save as many as she could.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's looking for that redemption. And they talk about how she surrendered so that her people could live, but then she was betrayed by Moff Gideon. And didn't work.
Which
he's
furthers
usually
her hate.
Yeah, he's usually a pretty stand-up guy.
Yeah. So he had a bad day or something.
People keep trusting him, though.
Yeah. He's usually good to his word, though.
He is.
So, and then we also learn more about the Death Watch, what happened to the Death Watch, because that was an organization that existed before this. Mm-hmm. They were the bad guys, basically, of the Mandalorians. Bo-Katan has talked about how they're always fighting amongst themselves, and when they fight amongst themselves, that's when they lose. And so this was one of those scenarios where they're fighting amongst themselves, where the Death Watch was hiding out on the moon of Concordia, which we saw in the Clone Wars. But the armor brings up that Death Watch no longer exists.
Yeah, and that they weren't, but they must be like descendants of them.
Yeah, well, they splintered into different groups, and this is the Children of the Watch is one of the groups.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because the guy's like, "Are you Death Watch?" And she doesn't say no, but she does say the Death Watch is long gone. Is what she basically says.
Yeah. So, and that was good to know, kind of, because we were wondering, well, are they related? Are they the children of the Death Watch, descendants? Like
so, are they the children of the Death Watch? Is that what these guys are? The great grandchildren, the grandchildren of the Death Watch.
Yeah. So that was good to kind of get that frame of reference. And then we get this personal conversation between Din and Bo-Katan that I really liked. They're talking about rebuilding Mandalore, but Bo-Katan's not sure that she can do that, that she's capable of doing that, uniting the people together, and all she really has is the Darksaber. And Din comes back with, well, Darksaber doesn't really matter for us and the people, the children of the Watch.
Yeah,
bloodlines don't matter. It's just honor, loyalty, and character that matter, and you have that. So he says he's going to serve her because of that, and he says her song has not yet been written, and he will serve her until that happens. So then she was like, "Ooh, okay,
wow,
that's cool." So
I'm going to start saying that to people.
Your song has not yet been written.
At work.
Yeah.
When they turn in the project.
Yeah, when the project's a little behind. Your song has not been written. I will be here for you.
Yeah. I got your back.
And then do this. Your fist. Yeah. Hey, Johnny, your song has not yet been written. But you better have it written by Friday.
It's due Friday.
Or else you're out of here.
End of day is 5 p.m., not midnight.
Yeah, I don't want to come in Monday morning and see an email at 11:59 p.m. Friday.
Yeah. So, then the beast attacks the ship. They scatter. They get out of the way.
So, what'd you think of that part? Was this just kind of like, hey, we see something really far away over there.
Let's keep going
full speed and not turn.
What it is. What is that?
And then half of them get eaten.
Yeah. And then they're right underneath it. They're like, oh no. Let's abandon ship.
Let's get out of here.
Why not hey, there's something way over there. Stop.
Hey guys, let's just see what happens here for just a minute.
Yeah. It seemed kind of unnecessary.
It did.
Because the beast destroys the ship. They all escape into this cavern, and they're like, oh, it's just down there.
Yeah.
There's the forge.
What was the point of... Yeah. Well, and the guy said, I know where the forge is. He was on their way there.
Yeah.
And then they escaped the beast to where they were going.
In the first place.
Yeah. So I guess someone just really wants to beat these guys down.
Well, I think one of the computer animators was like, I created the coolest beast.
Yeah. We're cutting that out. Didn't you hear? Didn't you get the memo? We've eliminated that scene. And he was like, you're putting that beast.
We're using the beast.
You're using the beast or else. I'm going to burn this place to the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So didn't make a lot of sense. But it was
maybe
cool
they needed the monster to come up out of the ground to create the hole that they escaped into.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Maybe is that the whole?
I don't.
Is that hole used later?
I'm guessing. I'm like, because they're like, we need to take cover, and they go down into some cavern, and then they're like, oh, hey,
There it is.
there it is. We're here. Oh, wait, there's more Mandalorians coming. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, who knows? So, but the Mandalorians, like we said, they see the forge, and then they hear jetpacks. We think, oh, more Mandalorians are on their way, but no, it's the Imperials. So we see the new version of the Imperial. In Rebels, we saw them as Imperial Commandos, kind of pretty much the same design, same colors, but they have Beskar armor this time, so they're harder to defeat. But we get a really cool battle sequence.
And did they have Beskar in Rebels?
No.
And so Moff Gideon refers to them. He's like, these are my dark troopers, right?
Yeah, new design.
New design. Beskar armor stormtroopers. So no more robots, right? No more androids or whatever they were. Now it's just stormtroopers with Beskar armor.
Yeah.
But for being dark sabers, they were all in white. So why did he call them their dark troopers? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
because I was like, well, shouldn't it all be black
Yeah, they would have
armor?
been cooler.
It would have been cooler.
Like his armor was pretty cool.
Yeah. But maybe they're like, well, it can't be black because we're in a cave and they won't be able to see it very well.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, what did you guys think of this battle between these guys and the Mandalorians? Pretty intense, laser fighting, hand-to-hand fighting, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They were formidable opponents, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They seem to be outnumbered and getting their butts kicked. They definitely had to kind of retreat back and fend them off as they were. And they end up basically in that room and going out on what it looks like to be like a landing bay, right? But they seem like they're in trouble. And Axe, was it Axe Wolves who escapes to go like, hey, I want to go get reinforcements? Or Bo-Katan tells them to, right?
Yeah, I think she tells, because they kind of they kind of trap them, and then they say they're going up to kind of attack the rest of them, and Axe Wolves gets out of there to go warn them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he takes off through this hole. Maybe that's the hole that the beast came out of.
There you go. Yeah.
It would have been nice if they would have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like,
look, the beast made that hole.
the hole the beast made. Use that. Thank heavens that's there.
Yeah. But so the Imperial Commandos, they retreat. And they're like, oh, they got him on the run, but it's really just a trap, an ambush.
Yeah.
So they go into the room, like you said, and we see an Imperial base is there with TIE fighters and
hanging from the ceiling. Like
that was cool looking.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And that, because, you're right. The part that the battle takes place is in the ruins. Then they go out through, and then they come in, and they're like, whoa, what in the world is this place? And they realize that Moff Gideon's got a base there this whole entire time.
Yeah. So, was that believable?
I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay. We saw the same thing in Navarro, right? That's where the troopers were coming from. And we had asked, where did these TIE fighters come from to attack Bo-Katan's palace? And I guess that's where they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. In fact, it makes perfect sense because supposedly everyone thought the planet was poisoned, right? No one would ever go there. They took advantage of that rumor to kind of be able to do what they did and build up that base.
Well, and I think because they still saw the Mandalorians as such a threat, it makes sense for them to keep a stronghold there on Mandalore just in case, just to keep an eye on things.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And all the Beskar there, right? That's where they got the Beskar to make the armor.
Yeah. So they get trapped. Din gets separated from the rest of the group. The rest of the group's trapped in this other room. Him and some other guys are outside of the room. More Imperial commanders show up, kill them all except for Din. They capture him, and then Moff Gideon shows up. And then he's in this full black armor, Beskar, all pimped out, and everything looks awesome. Kind of has a Darth Vader vibe, right?
Kind of a Darth Vader, and even it kind of had like horns around the crown. So I also kind of gave off a Darth Maul kind of vibe too for me.
Yeah,
the black and red. But I thought it was a good mix of both.
Yeah,
and an obvious and obvious by the creators to kind of give it that Darth Vader vibe. So you felt like, as a viewer, like the ominous of him and the threat of him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and he monologues. He talks about what he's been doing.
He does like to monologue.
He's created the next generation of troopers. He's creating an army of clones. But he also says, and they all got a little bit of me in them. So
created the perfect clone.
Yeah.
With me.
Did you guys think that maybe these Imperial Commandos were him, like his clones, or were they just normal troopers?
I didn't.
I didn't think. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get that impression, but
I didn't either. But kind of the way he said it, I was like, it made me think, but I didn't. Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
Because the clones we saw earlier, they're the only clones.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Which is such a small batch of clones, too.
Yeah, there's only
you think
12.
about the Clone Wars, and I mean, there's like 12 of them.
Yeah. Well, and considering that he was aging them a little extra so that they would be as old as him.
12 clones, and they're 80 years old.
Like, how old do you want your clones to be? The Moth? Well, I mean, it makes sense to have them come out at 25, but, let's cook them for a little longer.
I want them to look like me.
I want them to look exactly like I am right now. 60 years old. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he had his base on Navarro where he was doing clone work, and he has this base where he's doing clone work. Is there another base out there maybe that he's doing clone work? And
Maybe.
I bet there is.
Maybe he comes back next season, the clone of Gideon.
Maybe.
Something to think about.
That should have, yeah.
So Din's captured, taken off, and then he sees Bo-Katan. He's like, Bo-Katan, we got to stop meeting like this. And he wants the Darksaber. She doesn't want to give it up, so she creates an escape route, and they start to leave out the back door that she created. But Paz Vizsla, he has his hero moments. He has his repeating laser cannon, and he's killing all the Imperial Commandos. Like in this moment, he's able to dispatch 20 of them.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool to see.
It was cool.
But I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It was cool. Hey, here's an idea. How about we all carry that gun?
Yeah.
Well, the forger has to carry a wrench. Right. Like, why didn't she stay and just start hitting people on the head with a wrench?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they're like, he's like, no, go, I'll hold them off. It's an ambush. And they're like, and he seemed to be like, wipe them all out. And there was only like a couple left before more were coming. It seems like the amount of time he took to walk over and shut the door, he could have just took another step and shut the door from the other side.
Yeah.
And escaped with them, but
yeah. And he did kill all of them. There's only they all died and then he's like, cool, I did it. And then these Praetorian guards show up.
Yeah.
And he fights with them pretty well.
Yeah.
Gives them a run for his money for a minute or so.
Takes them out.
Yeah.
And then they just stab him with those, I don't know, lightsaber whips.
Yeah.
Laser whips.
Now, you said earlier, and I brought this up before, that I didn't think all the Mandalorians all have Beskar armor. It doesn't seem like Din in the very first episode had Beskar. He just had regular armor, and then he gets the Beskar, and he makes,
he was replacing one piece at a time.
Yeah. But it seems like they were able to kill him and stab him through the armor he had on. So I don't think that was my impression.
Yeah. I don't think the rest of them do have the Beskar, because that's what separates them from these Imperial Commandos.
Yeah.
That are more powerful because they have the Beskar armor. So that another question answered, right, in this episode. So it was cool to see like his blaster overheats, right?
Yeah.
That was a cool visual.
Before, yeah.
I was expecting the front of it to kind of start to melt.
Yeah, that cool. Yeah.
And you just throw it away.
Yeah. So he fights. Puts up a good fight, but he ends up getting killed at the end, and that's the end of the episode.
And now, his son's an orphan.
Yep. Dang it.
Dang it.
What was his name? The son's name?
Something Fallon.
Yeah. No, he had like
It's Vizsla.
yeah. I forget. It was kind of a funny, like,
Grogu Vizsla.
yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, he's an orphan now. So the next episode, The Return, picks up right
But
where
where's the mom?
the mom's the armor.
for real. Oh,
Oh.
see, that's why they
Nuh-uh.
got to take their helmets off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a joke? Or are you serious?
No, that's my theory.
You think so?
Yeah.
Huh.
Hasn't been defined, but that's my theory.
Man, I like it.
Yeah. Because she's the only other woman there, right?
Right.
She's a lot of people's
she's the only
moms.
woman there.
Yeah. Maybe this.
That's the tough part about the helmets too. It's like, hey, can I get your number? No. Oh, sorry. That's
not
not
my-
you. Were,
Yeah. It's not my thing.
my bad. Man, we really need to do something about these helmets. Can we have pink helmets or blue helmets?
Accentuate the armor somehow.
Bo-Katan has breasts on her armor.
Yes, she does. I've
That's
seen a
true.
lot of people memes about, people are like, oh, wow, Bo-Katan's hot.
Yeah.
And the armor. I'm like, wow, man.
Yeah.
Didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah. So, picks up right where the other episode left off. They're
Yeah.
escaping through the tunnels. She tells Axe Wolves, hey, they're sending TIE fighters. You got to go up there, evacuate everybody, use the capital ship as a decoy.
And so let's talk about that. Axe Wolves, he leaves and he takes his jetpack and flies up into the outer atmosphere, which I was like, I didn't think these guys, they made it look like in previous episodes that these jetpacks don't have unlimited amount of fuel in them.
Yeah.
And they seem to be flying around a lot,
Yeah,
all over the place. And he's able to escape the gravity and atmosphere fairly easily with his jetpack. I'm like, I don't know about this.
Seems a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But he does it.
and he lands on the ship and he goes onto the bridge. He's like, everyone get out and go down and help him. And they're all looking at him like, what?
Yeah.
Why don't we just leave?
which I kind of thought as well.
And he's like, no, seriously, go, leave, get off, go jump in the ships and go help them. And they're like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
See, at this point, I thought he was the spy,
Okay.
this other spy.
You thought he was going to escape?
He's like, everybody off. And then he gets in the ship and just books it.
Light speech.
Yeah, he's gone. I thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but didn't.
Or even if he wasn't a spy, maybe he was just like, this is the way, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
No,
I'm outta here.
I'm out of here. This is the way.
Yeah.
Right out
This way.
This way's the way.
Yeah.
Out of this battle. But then I thought, like, she's like, use the ship as a decoy. So I thought he would like fly the
Yeah.
ship, not like light speed away, but just like start flying,
Leave him on a
Yeah.
chase.
lead him on a chase. But
Because-
he just sits in there and while they
Well, they just
blast
blast the
it.
shit.
Yeah.
And it must have been hard to get a hold of that ship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's the ship
that was Moff Gideon's ship.
Yeah.
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 They stole from him.
Yeah.
I would have thought he would have liked that ship back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Not a very good plan.
it must have taken him like 3 years to paint that big
Yeah.
giant face on the bottom too.
Yeah. That Mando's called.
That was a lot of paint.
Yeah.
That's a lot of trips to the Lowe's on Saturday.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's huge. It was pretty cool though.
It was cool.
So where were we? Din, he's being carried off by the two commandos, and he's able to kind of beat one of them down, but he's captured can't get away from the other one, and he's getting choked. And then Grogu shows up with IG-12, he's like, no, and helps him escape.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see Grogu in action with IG-12. They talk, well, we gotta go get Moff Gideon. We gotta put an end to this.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just
keep coming.
We'll just have season 4, season 5,
Yeah.
season 6.
Which I could have told them earlier in the series.
Yeah. Should have killed him in last season.
Yeah.
So, he tells Bo-Katan, "Hey, we're going to go after Gideon." She tells him we're escaping to regroup and we're going to attack the base. So they kind of talk about their plans. We see the TIE interceptors go after the ship, blow it up. Well, not really blow it up, but disable it.
Yeah.
So and it catches on fire.
Well, it does seem to show him kind of point it towards the planet a little bit before it moves to the next scene.
Mm-hmm. Here we got R5 shows up. R5D4. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Hey, R5, I need your help." He just kind of pops up out of the rocks. What?
Yeah, where was he this entire time? Yeah. Did he just leave him on the planet?
He is a good spelunking droid.
Yeah.
I need a good spelunking. I need a droid for spelunking.
Well, it's one thing to show him like next to the ship they came in. Like,
yeah.
Oh, he was on the ship waiting. But he's
pokes his head out from behind a rock.
Yeah.
Like,
there's nothing around.
Hey, R4, I think I left you here. Are you still around? Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. What do you need?
Yeah. That was kind of funny. He's like, "Hey, I need you to infiltrate the base, find out where the command center is." So he uses the jetpacks that we saw R2-D2 use in the prequels. So apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, I know.
At least lately.
Boy, when that came out in the movies, people about lost it.
What?
What? You can fly? Wait a second. Hold the phone.
They fly now?
Why did he do that? Like, yeah, that's the problem when they introduce new abilities, like stuff like that, because then it's just like if they could do that, they could have gotten out of this jam or this or that, and there's a million things that it just kind of ruins when they start introducing stuff like that, new abilities.
They retcon stuff.
Yeah.
So
don't even talk about force healing.
Yeah, we won't go there this time.
Yeah.
Well, Grogu can force right? He force healed.
I know, right? This drives me crazy.
So he uses the jetpacks to go into the base. And he hacks into the system, finds out where the command center is. And this part was kind of funny. You got the mouse droids coming up.
Yeah. Little comic relief with the sirens.
Police lights.
I liked it. It was funny.
That was good.
I like how they surrounded him.
Yeah.
Start just bumping into him.
Woo, woo.
Yeah. Danger.
I really would have liked them to turn around and just kick them all off of the drop right there. One of them did fall, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Was funny.
He uses electroshock to kind of keep him at bay a little bit. But he finds out where the base is, or the command center. He sends him there. And then when Din has to go through those laser gates, R5 disables one. He fights the two Imperial commandos, moves to the next one. So that was kind of a cool sequence.
Yeah, and definitely a callback to the Clone Wars or
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace, yeah.
And I like that R5 got his hero moments, right? Because ever since Episode 4, when he breaks down and gets stuck with the Jawas, you always wonder what happened to that guy.
Yeah.
And here he is, saving Mandalorian.
No, I want OR4. I hope they keep him around and even bring him, elevate his status even more in the future.
Did he go back to Navarro with him at the end of this episode?
I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I didn't see him at the cabin, but
the cabin.
Yeah. So, so he helps him get in to the command center. But then back to X-Wolves, he steers the ship towards the ground and it starts falling and it's going to crash. Then they cut to, let's see, where are we? Oh, they get into the command center and they walk by the clone tanks. And we're like, oh, who are they? Yeah,
they're like, they keep intentionally like keeping it blurry. Yeah. You're like, please, will someone walk up to one of these tanks and look in so we can see what the heck is in them?
Yeah.
And like, if they don't show what's in these tanks, I'm gonna be mad.
Mm-hmm. And Grogu gets a little closer, looks, and he sees it's Gideon, Moff Gideon. 60-year-old Moff Gideon clone.
And just like never happens, the eyes open.
Yeah. But the music
Dun, dun. Yeah. Scary moment.
Jump scare.
Yeah.
So, Din self-destructs the clone tanks, and they all break open and leak all over the place. So, yeah.
There goes Moff Gideon's
All
children.
of his hard work.
All that hard work.
They just kept there in the hallway.
I mean, as old as they looked, weren't they ready to come out?
I know. Why weren't they?
Why were they out now?
How much older were they going?
Yeah, weren't you done?
Yeah.
He's like, you killed my clones. You're like, no, dude, you killed them. Like,
Died of old age.
you overcooked them like 15 years ago, buddy. He's like, they were gonna have the Force.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they already had it.
Yeah. And that's another story thread that was finally solidified, right?
Yeah.
That they were using Grogu DNA to give them these clones the Force sensitive clones, which goes all the way back to the Force Unleashed video game, where Vader had an apprentice that was Force sensitive clone, and then Force Unleashed 2 expanded on that. So that's always been a thing. Like, why not have Force sensitive Jedi clones, right?
Yeah.
So
No, that's not too unethical. Only the bad guys make clones.
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully they explore that a little bit more at some point. Force sensitive clones, I think that'd be cool. Let's see. Mandalorians regroup in the underground cave, and then the reinforcements come, and they all head off to the base to go, fight and destroy the base.
Yeah.
So there's this really cool scene where flying with jetpacks, fighting each other in the air.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
Did you think it was cool?
that was pretty
Or were
awesome.
you like, that's not real?
What is this show?
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was pretty sweet. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Did you think it was dumb, Nate? Since you brought it up?
No, I didn't. I was fine with it. My son thought it was dumb, though.
Really?
We were watching. He's like, "This is dumb," and I'm like, "But I did have a vision pop in my head when they're like flying next to each other and fighting. I had the image of Big Trouble in Little China when the two guys are flying through the air, fighting with swords. You know that scene
Oh, yeah.
in the
Oh,
end?
yeah.
That image popped into my head, and I'm like, totally believable.
These guys have jetpacks.
They
Yeah.
got jetpacks, so it is a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan has the Darksaber. Armor has her hammer and wrench. No, but it was pretty nice to watch all this. So
Where's Boba Fett in all this, right?
it's a good question. I was expecting him to show up.
Wouldn't that have been cool if he did? We
Yeah.
saw him.
It's like, yeah, they helped, or Din helped me out, so I'm gonna go help him.
Right? Yeah. I was kind of hoping we might see him, but
Nope.
nope. Slave One, or whatever they now call that ship. Yeah. Come flying through,
Yeah.
start blasting TIE fighters.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
So Din and Grogu are trying to escape, and we have the final showdown between Gideon and Din and Grogu. Bo-Katan ends up coming in, and they fight. The Praetorian Guards show up, so there's Din and Grogu against the Praetorian Guards. Bo-Katan versus Moff Gideon. So, I don't know. Pretty cool. Again, you got the aerial fights, and then you got the ground fights with the Darksaber, and it looked like he had a Beskar staff that he was using.
A lot of action.
And then you got the ship coming in.
Ship's
and
coming
all the
down.
Where is that Beskar spear, though?
That's what they melted it down and used it to create the
that's
chainmail.
too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's another one. So, and in the fight, the Beskar or the Darksaber's crushed because
Yeah.
you see that Moff Gideon has like some cybernetics issue
Yeah, that
with
suit.
his suit.
That was making the whirring sounds you were talking earlier about. Yeah, the sounds and the closed captions. Yeah, you can hear it like making like a robotic movements. So it seemed like it was more than just armor, but like a suit, like a mechanical suit that gave him extra strength.
Yeah.
That was intentional, obviously.
Yeah. So is the Darksaber not made of Beskar?
Guess not.
Apparently not.
Not everything is made of
It seems
Beskar,
like it
Blake.
ought to be.
Yeah. think. So, but he crushes it. He crushes it in the hand, and that's the end of the Darksaber.
Which is pretty symbolic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, without that, there's no leader. But, he talks about you Mandalorians, your trinkets. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, come on, man. You're using Beskar armor.
Yeah. You're using the trinket. You want the trinket.
Yeah.
Trying to get the Darksaber the whole time.
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago, he wanted the Darksaber back.
He wanted that trinket.
But he knew by crushing it, that was like going to really hurt her, morale, that she was just going to be crushed because she really wants to reunite the Mandalorians, and he knows it's a symbol for them to do that, and that's the last thing he wants is the Mandalorians getting reunited.
Yeah,
yeah, and that brings up the importance of what Din and Bo-Katan were talking about earlier. We don't need a Darksaber. We need someone with honor, character, loyalty,
and a mythosaur.
Teamwork.
Yeah. So you get the end of the old ways and start of the new ways in this episode.
Because he says, you're nothing without your trinkets, and she says it's not about, Mandalorians are about, Din shows up, right? Mm-hmm. What's the line
she says? We're stronger together.
We're stronger together,
I think. But I thought maybe a better line could have been there. That
we're stronger together.
We're stronger together. Like, I don't know. What's going to work? Teamwork.
Or isn't that? Are you quoting cartoons? You are.
Is that Paw Patrol? I can't remember.
I think you're Bob the Builder. I think you're quoting Bob the Builder.
Yeah. So, but they still can't defeat him, right? Gideon's.
No, they're still struggling. But
all three of them.
Yeah. Well, and then Grogu shows up and he force pushes them back. But all this while, though, the cruiser is plummeting, down, and Axe Wolves is telling him, "Get out of there!
Get out of there.
It's coming! Everyone escape!"
Mm-hmm. So he's able to pilot into that crevice where the base is and escape before it crashes.
And a fiery burning ship with no control, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Perfect control still.
Yeah. So everybody gets out of the way except for those four: Grogu, Din, Bo-Katan, Gideon. And there's this big explosion, fireball. Bo-Katan uses her little shield to shield Grogu.
This is the smallest shield I've ever seen.
Yeah. And, but that's what I thought. I was like, they're toast, right? That shield's not big enough.
Yeah.
And then Grogu has his force moment.
Dun, dun, dun.
Does.
And creates this force bubble, to protect him from the fire. But Gideon is not in that bubble, and he is incinerated. Or is he?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed at Moff Gideon's demise, or lack thereof. I don't know if that... I think he is dead, but I wish they would have filmed it in such a way that was like...
a little more ceremoniously.
And just like...
a little
more definitive, like... Hans Gruber flying off of the tower.
The Rolex.
With plummeting to his death. Something a little more definitive where you saw the ship hit him and carry him down to the ground and he gets, smashed into like a pancake because he just gets enveloped in flames. I don't know. I would imagine that they would have... a Beskar armor of suit would have been like, hey, one of these things that this suit should be able to do is protect you from fire. And I don't know. I hope he's dead. Let me say, if they bring him, I don't mind if they brought him back. My only complaint is if that was his death scene, I think they could have made it better, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I wish that they would have, as they focused in on Grogu and everybody in that little... I wish he would have been sitting in there with them, like...
Yeah. They like turn around and look, and he's just like,
What?
Oh, hi.
How'd you get here?
Don't mind me.
We need to stop meeting like this.
Oh, we're idiots.
So that's a good question. If he's not dead, he's all burned up. So then they further enforce the Darth Vader
Because
vibes.
Din, he puts his helmet on. He's like, I'm going to seal it up so in case the air is bad,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that suit, they make those suits look like they're impervious to blasters and lightsabers.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the fire.
At least air conditioning or something.
Yeah. He probably, what about going to the bathroom? He probably doesn't even have to take it off to go to the bathroom. He's probably got a suit inside of it, a cooling suit. I'm like, if that was the way they killed him off, I'm like, fine. But man, I wish they could have. But so if he does come back again, we'll be like, well, yeah, they didn't really make it obvious that he died.
Yeah.
So there was people that noticed that this version of Moff Gideon doesn't have a mustache like he did previously.
So, yeah.
So they're saying,
The clone
he's
question.
a clone because he doesn't have a mustache. It's like, well, he was in prison, so maybe they shaved his mustache.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just got tired of it. But it is a visual cue that I think
Could have
had
the clones
significance.
didn't have any facial hair, did it?
I don't think so.
I don't think it did.
Yeah. So maybe that's, but with that argument, it's like, well, a clone doesn't have the memories and they don't come out with all the same memories that the previous person has.
Well, he
they have to
could have
develop their own.
He could have had a class. He could have had them all sitting in
Hey,
desks.
let's
and
talk for 5 minutes. Just let me bring you up to speed.
Yeah.
There's a Darksaber, there's a Bo-Katan, and a Grogu. And
Right.
They're the bad guys.
Yeah. I will say though, if they do bring him back, I'm like, okay. I was bummed when they killed Darth Maul off so early, right? I'm like, we loved having Darth Vader through the whole series, and then he was the Emperor, and then they all get it in the end, and you're like, you get this sense of satisfaction when Darth Maul gets killed in the Phantom Menace, killed, right? Exactly, cut in half to come back. You're kind of like, oh, I really like that guy. He was a guy you love to hate, and you should have not killed him so soon. You should have left him for at least in the next. So, but Moff Gideon, okay, he hasn't been killed yet, but he's been defeated, captured, come back. For him to come back again, it would be like, okay, we need a new villain, like you said earlier. We can't just keep bringing him back. So
yeah, I can agree with that. We need a Count Dooku to come in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Replace Darth Maul. So yeah, they're able to escape the fire. The next scene is they're at the waters of Mandalore, and the foundling finally gets baptized. They complete the ceremony that they couldn't at the first episode of the season because the monster attacked. And then Din steps in the water with Grogu, and he's like, well, he needs to do that too. But she's like, well, he can't talk, so he can't say the words. Then we get this whole, it was kind of confusing.
Yeah, because he didn't take the creed.
Yeah.
He's like, I want him to be my apprentice, not a foundling anymore.
Yeah.
But in order for him to be either, wouldn't he have had to have taken the creed? Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, okay. So that part I didn't get.
Yeah. And she's like, well, he's got to have parents' permission, and the parents aren't
As
here.
you do.
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm adopting him. He just states it. I'm adopting him. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
This is the way.
that works then.
Hey, Bob, can you draw up the paperwork on this one?
Yeah. So, but he still doesn't get the water on his head.
No, he can't speak the creed, but he can be graduated from foundling to.
So he's an apprentice. But he's not a Mandalorian.
But the previous was a foundling, right? Mm-hmm. So, and they had the whole thing about earlier when he was fighting. He's like, oh, he can't speak the creed. So when they were doing the practice battle, in the previous episode, I'm confused, but whatever.
Seems a little vague.
But I will say this: I really like Din Grogu a lot better than just Grogu.
Yeah. So they changed the name, Din Grogu.
Sir
Din Grogu.
That's right. That's right. It's been knighted
by Lizzo.
by Lizzo. Sir Dan Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, go ahead.
I do really hope in the next season we get a little more older Grogu who can
I hope there's
talk.
another time jump.
Yeah. I hope we get a time jump. And
Yeah.
the baby babble I'm done with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so then they meet at the Forge. They finally light it up. The Mandalorians are restored back on Mandalore. It's official. And so, do you think we'll see more of the Mandalorians in future seasons? Like,
I don't think they can resist a team up at some point, you know.
right? I can agree with that. But what about like, let's go back to watch them build the city and establish their culture,
yeah.
that sort of thing? Or
I think they'll
we
have
move on?
I think they'll have like an episode where he goes there and meets with Bo, and she'll walk around
Yeah.
the city like, oh, look what we've done since you were last here, and this
Kinda
is
like what they
happening.
did.
They do with Navarro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind
And
of
then
a
some
thing.
pirates will come and want to drink in the school.
Yeah,
Here we
It's a
go
school
again.
now.
yeah.
I really want to drink in your school.
I want to sit in one of those little teeny desks. I want to get stuck.
I want some cookies, some green cookies.
You can't just go to the bar next door. No, it's got to be here, or I'm gonna start shooting people.
Yeah.
Dude, you got problems.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think kind of like that. We'll see you here and there, but I think we're done with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
we're
there,
gonna
there
go.
was kind of some backlash, I guess, with this season because the focus went more into that. And so it seems like they're going to simplify, get back to what was working. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I just hope they don't devolve into bounty hunter of the week. Like, we got to get this
Yeah.
guy, and that's the episode.
Yeah.
like a serial Magnum PI
Yeah.
Mandalorian. Where every week he's just like, it's completely independent episodes. It still needs to be attached to a bigger story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll probably tie into the formation of the First Order
Yeah.
somehow. But so then they go to this part was weird to me. They go to the Rebel outpost, meet up with Carson Teva. He's like, "Hey, I'm a bounty hunter now again, and I'm gonna get some bounties for the New Republic." And Teva's like, "Well, we can't do that. It's not legal.
We're not
Well, let's do it, off the books."
we're not hiring mercenaries to go out and capture Imperials
This
and
is-
bring them back dead or alive.
It just seemed weird.
Yeah.
And then they get the IG-11 head. It's like I thought he already had a head.
Yeah.
Oh, the head didn't work.
It
That's
was
right.
the memory.
Yeah,
or
there was
the-
something wrong.
The
That's right.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why is the bar got a bunch of heads all across, like,
It's like,
collecting heads?
well, like those bars you go to where there's bras. It's
Can't say I've been to a bar with
dismembered heads.
bras everywhere.
Yeah. It's probably like, well, these are the enemies we've killed or captured. These
Yeah.
are their helmets.
Well, we'll see.
Trophies.
We'll see, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I mean, I don't have a problem with it in general. I think is actually the idea that the Republic has like a 10 most wanted kind of a thing and has a reward for them actually makes perfect sense, just like the FBI would, right?
Yeah.
If you have information leading to the capture of this Imperial general commander kind of person, so for him to go out and chase after those, but I don't understand why there has to be any kind of like, oh, hey, this is going to be off the books, where it's just going to be, make it a legit thing. Well, I don't know why he has to be like, oh, they wouldn't approve that.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, if he's a wanted, known Imperial criminal person who's out hiding somewhere, own it and just say, this is what I'm going to be doing, and let's work together. I'll keep you in the loop, and him just like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And then we've got something to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, maybe some of the bounties are this Shadow Council, right? Mm-hmm. So they tie into that.
Yeah.
So then he uncovers Grand Admiral Thrawn, and he's coming back. I don't know.
Yeah. But in between missions, he can hang out at his cabin.
Yeah, hangs out at his cabin. So we see the cabin, Din and Grogu. Grogu's by the stream,
floating frogs.
playing with frogs. Din's chilling on his porch, his feet up. And that's the episode. That's the season.
Yeah, with his helmet on.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they change that because you mentioned something about that, Blake. The helmets and...
Yeah. It's just, I think, if you can't see their faces and you can't, then it kind of, I don't know, lowers the stakes a little bit. And so it'd be nice to,
For all you know, he was sleeping.
Yeah.
He was snoring, sawing logs while Grogu's getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not a personal connection there because it's just this mask, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the story writers and take that into account. I'm sure they were like, "Oh man, this is going to be hard because there's so much gets seen through a person's face. So how are we going to film a show where we don't ever see the person's face?" Yeah.
So my out of universe theory is, so this season they credited the stunt actors at the end of the episode, which they hadn't done before. And this season, Din does not take off his helmet at all.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's very likely that he wasn't, Pedro Pascal wasn't even on set. That he just read lines later.
I'm sure that's...
And because he was filming The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't available. So they come up with this theory. Well, this is the way he's not taking off his helmet this season. So it's just these two stunt actors the whole time.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole time.
And I mean, my thought is that's probably been how it's been every episode where he hasn't taken his helmet off, it's not him.
Yeah, it's those two.
It's always those two.
Yeah.
And he's always just reading lines in a sound booth. Mm-hmm. And he's only probably been on set 2 or 3 times, and those times when he had to take his helmet off.
Yeah.
That would be because The Last of Us, they've probably been filming that for the last couple of years, I assume, right?
At least the last few months.
Yeah.
Last year. And they're going to do season 2, so how does that affect this show? I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have a crossover or something.
Well, I mean, the next season, are we going to have a gap? Have they talked about the next season even? We don't even know. So we may not get another Mandalorian season until end of 2024.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because it's been like 2 years in between seasons. Right?
Yeah.
So.
And they're so busy with other projects. It's like they can't be working on all of them all at the same time. Ahsoka's got to be taken. Is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni all involved in
Filoni is. I don't.
Ahsoka?
Yeah, I don't think Favreau is.
Okay.
Then they're doing Skeleton Crew, which is live action. That's in production.
That'll be cool.
And then I think that's the only. Oh yeah, I think that's the only live action shows they're doing is those 3 right now. Oh, and Andor.
Oh yeah, season 2 of Andor.
Mm-hmm. I think that comes out next year.
Yeah. Which again, I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
good.
this, I mean, I got the impression that this could have been a series end, right? Last episode of the series.
Yeah.
They could wrap it up here and
They could.
be done.
They could.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't.
They could very well do it.
They could.
There's a writer strike coming up, so that's going to push that might. Well, it's looming. It's not official. So that could push things back.
That's
even
not good.
further. So maybe they wanted to kind of have this ending to leave everybody happy.
Are the writers from the episode with Jack Black and Lizzo, are they going to strike too?
Yeah. So I don't know. What'd you guys think of these 2 episodes, the season as a whole? Like, if you had to put a grade on them, what'd you think
I give it a solid B+
for the season, or these 2 episodes
for the season.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hate it like some did. Like in the middle, it felt like it kind of limped along a little bit, but those last 2 episodes were cool. Good action. It was good.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say these last 2 episodes were A quality, and then the season as a whole, B plus.
Yeah.
B plus. Yeah. So I liked it. Any final thoughts on this season, these episodes before we wrap it up?
No.
Okay.
Nothing I haven't already said.
Yeah.
It's a long one, a little over an hour. So, but it is 2 episodes. So thanks guys for listening, for watching to the Credible Nerds podcast. Definitely follow our YouTube channel, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps us out a lot, and we definitely appreciate your support that way. So stay tuned for upcoming episode reviews of Ahsoka at some point, and Andor and Obi-Wan and other stuff. So a lot of content to talk about. So thanks guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Thanks.